Okay, this video is going to go over the stomach and the stomach wall. So just looking at this flat model, we see we just finished. We're coming through the pharynx and the esophagus. The esophageal hiatus would be about here. The esophageal sphincter is here, and then we enter the stomach. This area of the stomach here, where we enter through the esophagus, is closest to the heart, which would be right here. This is called the cardiac region of the stomach. This region over here that is above where the esophagus enters is called the fundus. So this side is the fundus. This part is the cardiac region. From here around to here is the body of the stomach. And then from here going upwards into this is the pyloric part, and the pylorus, and then the pyloric sphincter. So there's a sphincter that controls things entering the stomach, the esophageal sphincter, and a sphincter that controls things leaving the stomach, the pyloric sphincter. Also, when you look at the stomach, you notice that there's a little curve here and there's a bigger curve here. This little curve is the lesser curvature of the stomach, and we would have the lesser omentum here. And then over here we have the greater curvature of the stomach, and notice this flat sheet coming off here. This is part of the greater omentum. Okay, so that's what we can see externally. Now, also, you're going to see that we have other models of the stomach like this one. Okay, and here cut away on the outside is to show you the 3 layers of muscle. The 3 layers of muscle. So the outermost layer here, remember the stomach has an extra layer, is the oblique muscle, followed by the circular muscle. And then deep to that is going to, this is the longitudinal muscle. This is the circular muscle, and this would be the oblique muscle. Because remember, the other model, we go from the inside out. So oblique, circular, and longitudinal. Okay. Do not have the greater omentum on this model. What we can do with this one, though, is we can open it. And once we open it up, hard to do one-handed again, sorry, there we go. You can see those folds on the inside that allow the stomach to expand, and those folds, again, are called rugae. Okay, so those are the gross features of the stomach as an organ. We also want to look at the stomach wall. This is where the majority of the function of the stomach is going to come from. So this is the stomach wall model. It looks kind of weird, kind of show it here from the side. You can see the labels are down one side, and I'm kind of looking at it from the top right now. So this side of the model would be the lumen of the stomach where the food is, and this side of the model would be towards the outside of the stomach. So right up here on the top surface is where we're going to have our mucosal layer, right? So mucosa starts out with epithelium. So right around here, these are the epithelial cells that we're going to have. So the gastric epithelium. Now, notice how every once in a while they go down and then the color changes. So what happens is we have up here, we have these mucus cells that are secreting mucus on the surface, and this part is called the gastric pit. Once we cross over and you see the color change here in the model, we have now entered the part that's called the gastric gland, and the cells lining it are going to change. This is where we're going to find our parietal cells and our chief cells, and down here at the bottom our G cells that we talked about in lecture. So this is the mucosal epithelium, and then once we cross down into this region, we're really in the lamina propria with the bottom of the glands being suspended in the lamina propria. Okay, and then of course after the lamina propria, the last layer of our mucosa is always the Muscularis Mucosae, and we have the layers here, the 2 layers, the internal circular layer and the more external longitudinal layer on the mucosa, Muscularis Mucosa. Okay, then we have the submucosa, which on the stomach is pretty simple, mainly dense, irregular connective tissue, and you can see our arteries and our veins running through it. And then we enter the muscular layer. Now, in the stomach, we have an extra layer. So just in this top section, notice we have some fibers that look like they're coming at us and some fibers that look like they're going across. So this is the oblique muscular layer right here. Okay. This is the circular muscular layer, and then this is our regular longitudinal muscular layer. And then to the outside, we have our serosa. So again, we have our mucosa from here to here, our submucosa, our muscular layer, sometimes called the Muscularis externa, and then our serosa. So that is the